or good evening. So hello everyone, thank you for joining the webinar. And this is going to be our third conference with Dr. Janki Santoke. Bonjour tout le monde, je vous remercie d'être présent à ce webinaire. Ça va être notre troisième conférence avec Dr. Janki Santoke. Et comme vous le savez, c'est un effort que nous faisons de notre côté ici à Paris, surtout avec une merveilleuse équipe à Mumbai qui nous aide justement à faire ce travail pour présenter cette philosophie et passer la barrière de la langue. Donc, on va maintenant passer à une petite introduction en anglais sur Dr. Janki Santoke. Please, Mahesh, can you launch the video? Thank you.
Life today poses challenges at various levels. Modern day living is threatened by anxiety, depression, failure at work, climate change, and war. But is a life of peace and harmony with fast-paced progress possible or even conceivable? The answer, a resounding yes, lies in the ancient Indian philosophy of Vedanta. This pristine knowledge of life and living, as found in texts like the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads, has answers to all human problems and is a pathway to the ultimate goal of human existence, God or self-realization. The Vedanta Wisdom Trust's mission is to educate humanity on this knowledge. Towards this end, it holds weekly online classes attended by learners from all over the world. The Trust's e-learning platform offers a number of self-paced certificate courses. Offline events include outstation retreats, seminars, public lectures, and workshops. Top professionals can learn and apply Vedantic knowledge in their fields through the Trust's corporate workshop services. The Trust's upcoming project, the Vedanta Wisdom University, will be the world's first university with a curriculum based on Vedanta. Along with education that provides a means of livelihood, it aims to empower its students to become tomorrow's leaders who can think creatively and advance humankind as a whole. Spearheading the Trust and its services is Dr. Janki Santoke, a well-known proponent of Vedanta for over 3 decades now, a sought-after teacher of the subject and an author who writes for The Speaking Tree, The Economic Times, and more. Her first book, How Do You Know What You Know, examines thinking and its effects on life. Her next book on happiness is in the publication stage. Janki Ji's social media presence continues to grow with the YouTube channel Team Janki Santoke comprising a subscriber base of thousands across continents. To learn more, please visit
Donc, Dr. Janki Santoke va présenter donc cette conférence sur la fourmi et la dinde. C'est une fable qui est de John Gay et comme vous avez pu le voir sur cette vidéo, ça fait 30 ans qu'elle essaye vraiment de passer ce message qui est un message universel. C'est pour ça qu'on a choisi ce poème pour donner le caractère universel du Vedanta. Nous ne sommes pas en train de se confiner dans une philosophie purement indienne, mais vraiment universelle. Donc, ce poème-là parle des travers de l'humain, un peu comme toutes les fables de cette époque. Ça date du XVIIIe siècle. Et il a été traduit chez Ancel par la poule et la fourmi, ou la dinde, ou la poule, enfin, peu importe. Donc, c'est un poème qui date du XVIIIe siècle. So, I was briefly introducing the fact that poetry, the way you have chosen the poetry is to give this universal aspect of Vedanta, so that it's not only for Indians, but has really an expansion to the whole world. And it's quite very modern also, the way Dr. Santoke expresses this philosophy. So the floor is yours, Dr. Santoke. Please go ahead.
Ganga, just about the globe.
Oui, une dernière chose à propos du globe. Donc, vous allez avoir un globe qui va apparaître. Il faut être patient parce qu'il prend un peu de temps pour que la traduction se mette en place. Au bas de l'écran, il y a une icône qui est un globe. Et une fois que vous le voyez maintenant, vous cliquez et ensuite vous cliquez sur « Terminer » pour avoir la traduction en français. Est-ce que vous le voyez bien? Si vous avez des questions, vous les posez sur le Q&A et à la fin de la conférence, vous pourrez aussi poser vos questions. Donc, si vous avez un souci, vous ne voyez pas le globe, on va vous donner 1 minute pour que vous puissiez bien le voir, cliquez dessus et cliquez sur Terminer.
Thank you, Ganga.
Okay, so everything is good with the globe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Today is our third session on the subject of Vedanta. As you know, so far we have done that we have 2 types of thoughts, which we classify as the mind and intellect. The mind-led behavior leads us into the problems and the stress of life. Intellect-led behavior leads to growth, progress, happiness. Now, we also studied about how we should understand this further in the topic intellect versus intelligence. Intellect does not refer to being emotionless, does not refer to collecting a whole bunch of information. You can have 3 PhDs and still have no intellect. It's got nothing to do with what you know. Intellect is that which enables us to do the right action. Remember the example? On a computer, there may be all the directions of what to do in case of fire. But if a fire does actually start, that computer will get burnt. That's the difference between knowing and doing. We had differentiated between the mind and the intellect in various ways. Today, we are going to do another kind of differentiation between the mind and intellect. The problem of introversion, the problem of objectivity. The mind is constantly focused outside. The mind cannot see anything objectively. These 2 things are what the intellect does. To study this, we have chosen to read a poem. Now you may say, why are we reading a poem? It's a small poem. It's not a very complicated poem, but it draws home to us that these ideas are universal. Though we are studying them through Vedanta, anyone going out in search of truth will find the same truths. Truth will always be one. There is a verse in the Vedas that says, Ekam Satyam, there is one truth. The wise call it by different names. So today we are going to see another way in which this can be done. we're going to study The Turkey and the Ant, an English poem that gives us the same ideas that we have been studying, because these are universal human experiences. It's a universally true truth. Every one of us fall into these categories. Okay, so with that, let us start the poem. The Turkey and the Ant. On one side is the English original by John Gay, and on the other side, the right-hand side, is the French translation. The Turkey and the Ant by John Gay. In other men, we false can spy and blame the mote that dims their eye. Each little speck and blemish find, to our own stronger errors blind. So in other people, we can see so many faults. We can see so many motes that dim their eyes. So many areas where they don't see the truth. Constantly we are saying, oh, the rest of the world is not seeing the truth. The assumption always is that I am seeing the truth. So we're very capable of seeing what faults others have, how their vision does not include the truth. We know so many things that they don't know. But what we fail to see, or what the mind fails to see, every human mind fails to see, our own errors. This is the extroverted nature of the mind. The mind is always focused outside. If we talk about bringing about change in the world, what do we think about? We think about correcting all these people who are doing all these wrong things. But Thomas Carlyle said, make yourself an honest man, and you can be sure there's one less scoundrel in this world. Improving the world never appears to us as, I am part of the world, let me improve myself. So we're very, very blind to our own errors. We very clearly see other people's. So here is the story of the turkey and the ant. The story is this. Let's briefly do the story before we proceed. The story is this. A turkey was living in a barn. And then she got tired of the food in the barn. So she went out to find better food. And behind her ran all her little babies. And they found better food. And then they start grumbling about the troubles in their life. So then an ant responds to her. And we will read that, of course, later. So it's just a very small incident. This turkey goes out of the barn, finds more food, and then she finds reason to complain and what the ant says to her. Okay, so let's read it. Excuse me. A turkey, tired of common food, forsook the barn and sought the wood. Behind her ran an infant train, collecting here and there a grain. Draw near, my birds, the mother cries. This hill delicious fare supplies. A turkey tired of common food. A turkey tired of common food forsook the barn. She left the barn. You know what a barn is, right? A barn is a place where they store grains. So she was living in a place where grains are stored, which means there's an abundance of food. But she got tired of it and sought the wood and went out into the woods to find some better food. A turkey tired of common food. What is common food? When you have plenty of something, when you contact an object indiscriminately, any object, we lose the joy of that object. When we contact an object without an intellect, indiscriminately, we begin to lose the joy of the object. So you eat an ice cream. It's very nice. So you say, okay, I'll have another. And you have yet another. You still enjoy it. So you say, yet I'll have yet another. You have yet another. And at every progressive contact, the joy of that will reduce if done indiscriminately. So you may say, okay, I lost the joy of the ice cream. I'll go have something else. I'll have a burger. And so that's what we do. We go and have something else. Why do we go and have something else? We've lost the joy of the first one. We've lost the joy. And we can keep moving from object to object, not recognizing why the joy has gone, and therefore create a whole bunch of objects around us which give us no joy. Isn't that what's happening with all of us? Remember the day you first came into your house, how you felt. Now, what is that house to you? The day you bought the car, how you felt. What is that car to you right now? Relationships, people, objects, everything. We contact it indiscriminately and lose the joy thereof. You may say, what's the problem with that? There are so many things in the world. If I lose the joy of one, I'll go to the other. I lose for the second, I'll go to the third. I lose for the third, I'll go to the fourth. There are infinite number of objects in this world. What's the problem? Here's the problem. There are actually two laws. The first law is that when we contact an object indiscriminately, we lose the joy thereof. The second law is that is the law of neutralization. The law of neutralization is this, that when you contact an object indiscriminately, the joy from that object keeps falling until it comes to zero. But when it comes to zero, you are in a position where you no longer enjoy the object, but you cannot get rid of it. Because the absence of the object causes sorrow. So the presence gives no joy, but its absence causes sorrow. So think of an alcoholic. A person takes a drink, he likes it. So he takes some more, and some more, and some more, until he could be consuming half a bottle of alcohol one day. He's getting no joy from it. So you tell him, you're getting no joy from it, why don't you leave it? You can't leave it either. You may be getting no joy from your home, for instance, from your house, the one you bought. So I say, okay, give it up, give it to me. Will you give it? Can't give it. Why? Because its presence doesn't cause joy, but its absence will cause sorrow. So the law of neutralization tells us, neutralization is a state where the presence of the object causes no joy, but its absence causes sorrow. So a lady can open a cupboard full of clothes, look at it, turn to her husband and say, darling, I have nothing to wear. And her husband is, what? You have a whole cupboard here. But for her, there's nothing to wear. So when we contact objects indiscriminately, we lose the joy of that object. Not only do we lose the joy of that object, we can't get rid of it, because the loss of the object will cause sorrow. And that's a terrible state. You know why it's a terrible state? Because though it is giving no joy, you still have to maintain it. And that's terrible, because you could be working day after day, earning a lot of money to maintain objects that are giving no joy. And then people say, we are stressed. How can you not be? So you have to pay the EMIs. Though the object is giving you no joy, you've lost the joy already. So what should we do? Suppose we reach this, suppose we contact an object. The first step is my intellect allowing this contact? Is it sensible for me to contact this object? That's question number one. Let us say that your intellect permits the contact, right? So you wanted a chocolate, your intellect said, fine, it's okay for you to have a chocolate. So you had the chocolate. Then you said, I need another chocolate. And your intellect said, okay, go ahead. So you decided to have another chocolate. Now you've come, you want some more. So you've come to a third one. When you have the third chocolate, it doesn't give you so much joy. So you have one more to get that joy back. You increase, we all increase the dose to get the pleasure back. We've lost the pleasure, so we increase the dose to get the pleasure back. This is where we make a mistake. Because when we lose the pleasure of something, instead of stepping forward, it's better to step back. If I'm contacting something and it's not giving me pleasure, I have to reduce the contact. So if I'm at home and I don't want to eat home food, I'm too bored with eating home food, I have to go out to eat to get the joy of the food back. Then what am I supposed to know? If I don't want to eat the food that is home, which is prepared, I take a step back. I fast. So in the next meal, all the joy will come back. Otherwise, what happens is we keep taking steps forward until we collect so many things. If we all look at our house, we've collected so many things. None of them are giving us joy, but we have to maintain them. And that causes us so much stress, because so much hard work we are putting in to maintain something that doesn't give us any joy. So the alcoholic, he had the first glass and it gave him pleasure. Then he's been having one glass every day and then the pleasure will go away. So what will he do? He will try to take 2 glasses so that that kick, that pleasure comes back. What should he do? He has to get away from the alcohol from that day, for that day. And next day, his original pleasure will come back. If we live like this, we can enjoy right up to our old age anything that we've enjoyed in youth. You're not neutralized to anything. Can you imagine that? You'll have the joy of a child, because the child is not neutralized to anything. He enjoys everything. Everything is new for the child. So he enjoys everything. We can maintain that newness in our contact with our spouse, with our children, with our homes, with our cars, with all our things, as long as we are able to maintain a discriminate contact, an intellect-led contact. So that's what the poet is drawing our attention to. A turkey tired of common food. Tired of common food means she has now lost the joy of the food she has, and therefore now has to go out and look for something else. So she leaves a barn full of food and sought the wood. We're all like that, right? We leave an area of plenty because we want something else. Behind her ran an infant train, collecting here and there a grain. Draw near, my birds, the mother cries. This hill delicious fare supplies. Behold the busy Negro race. See, millions blacken all the place. Fear not, like me with freedom eat, an ant is most delightful meat. So behind her ran an infant train. What does this refer to? It refers to the herd instinct. It refers to following predecessors. When we are infants means when our intellect doesn't work, we follow people who are on the wrong track themselves. Who are our heroes today? Are they living great lives? What in that person am I following? But if he's a celebrity, and I'm very impressed, behind her ran an infant train, collecting here and there a grain. A little bit of pleasure we want to pluck from here, and a little bit of pleasure we want to pluck from there. Why? Because we are going blindly behind some notions that we have not examined. What everyone else is doing, what people before us have done. Why did we take a job? Everyone takes a job. Why did you go to school or college? Everybody takes a job. Everybody goes to school or college. Why did you get married? Well, everybody gets married. Why did you have children? Everybody gets children. Why are we doing all these things? I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't do these things. But are we doing them with our eyes open? Otherwise, we're collecting here and there a grain. Remember, they were in a barn full of grains. Now they've come out, they're collecting here and there a grain. You're exchanging something good for something worse. You could have been completely happy, but instead you take little bits of pleasure. Plucking little bits of pleasure when you could be completely happy. And there are people to egg us on. This hill delicious fare supplies. So this mother turkey is now very happy with what she got. Right, she was tired with the food in the barn. Now she's gone and got really nice food. This delicious fare, she loves the food. Says, like me with freedom eat. Oh, have as much as you want. This ant is most delightful meat. Very tasty morsels we're getting. Have as much as you want. She has not understood that this problem has occurred, that she needs to go to the wood because she's already eaten too much. Like me with freedom eat. That means with freedom, let us go and enjoy all the objects of this world. Of course, with freedom, let us enjoy. I mean, nobody's put any binding on us that we should not enjoy this or not enjoy that. No such thing. But if our intellect doesn't put its own barriers, the end result is we will be unhappy and addicted. Freedom, true freedom, lies not in eating every sense object we meet. That means partaking of everything we meet. It lies in being able to regulate our contact. Because then we are free. When we indulge in things, we get bound by those things. But when you contact them in a disciplined manner, you're free of them. Free of them means you have the capacity to have it and enjoy it. And you also have the capacity to be completely happy even if they're not there. That is freedom. How is it freedom to get so addicted to something that you can't live without it? How is that freedom? That is bondage. So the more we live according to what is correct, the more freedom we have. True freedom is in discipline. Like me with freedom eat, an ant is most delightful meat. So here you see this turkey is now completely happy with what she got. Now see what happens. The moment we fulfill one desire, what happens? Now she starts complaining. How blessed, how envied were our life, should we but escape the poulterer's knife. She said, we would have such a lovely life, if only. This if only stays with us our whole life. When we were in school, we thought we would be happy if only we got good marks. When we went into our universities, we thought we would be happy if only we were able to pass out and get a good job. When we got a job, we felt we would be very happy if only we got a spouse. When we got a spouse, we felt we'll be very happy if only we got a child. Will this ever end? At any stage in life, there will always be something which we will think very justified. Just like the turkey is saying, oh, I wish man did not kill us. If we could escape the butcher's knife, I would be such a happy person. Life means there will be challenges. There will always be challenges. If my happiness depends on everything around me being very good, then my happiness is doomed. Because there'll be very few times where there is nothing wrong. Life is not like that. As long as you're alive, there'll be something happening, right? Sometimes you may not be well. Sometimes your spouse may be mad at you for no rhyme or reason. Sometimes you may have a job. Sometimes you may not have a job. Sometimes your finances may do well. Sometimes your finances may not do well. Sometimes COVID may hit us all. Anything is possible. I must know how to be happy no matter what happens. And the reason I'm not happy is I never trained myself to be happy. What my mind does is always posit that if only. Remember before COVID, we were thinking, if only I could go to America maybe. But then COVID struck and then our desire changed. We said, if only I could even leave my house, I'll be happy. And then COVID regulations reduced and they said, okay, you can now leave your house. And then you say, if only this traffic wasn't so bad. So when we were at home, we were not happy because we had to be at home. When we went out, we are not happy because now there's traffic. There's always something. This is the nature of the mind, to constantly think that I will be happy if only that happens. And this tendency in us keeps us unhappy our whole life long. When will we recognize this? If we look back How many times in our life we have thought, if only this happens, I will be happy. That thing happened. And then what? We're back to square one. That same if only was in school. The same if only was in university. The same if only at marriage. The same if only at children. Every step of the way. Can we be happy with this? So she got the food she wanted. Now she has started complaining about something else. If only we could escape the poulterer's knife. But man, cursed man, on turkey preys, and Christmas shortens all our days. Sometimes with oysters we combine, sometimes assist the savory shine. From the low peasant to the lord, the turkey smokes on every board. Sure men for gluttony are cursed, of the 7 deadly sins the worst. He says we'd be so happy if man did not eat us. But Christmas shortens all our days. The day Christmas comes, as you're all aware, everybody eats turkey at Christmas. So whenever Christmas comes, the poor turkey's life is shortened. So Christmas, which is so enjoyable for us, is frightening for the poor turkeys. Which is another aspect about life. That what is good for one may be bad for another. When I look out of my window and I want to go on a picnic, I look out and I say, oh God, let there not be rain today. Let us have a bright day so that I can go for my picnic. At the same time, maybe a farmer is telling God, oh God, please give us rains. I need my crops to grow. Who is God supposed to listen to? What is good for one may not necessarily be good for the other. Some days our desires will be fulfilled. Some days their desires will be fulfilled. This is the game of life. If you go for a tennis match, some points you will win, some points the opponent will win. Some days you will win the match. Sometimes the opponent will win the match. Our joy cannot be based on who wins. Our joy has to be based on how we play the game. You play the game, you enjoy the game. Some days you win, some days you lose. That's just life. Because everybody's desires have to be fulfilled, right? Suppose you say, oh, only my desires have to be fulfilled. Then what about all your family members? They have different desires. A husband and wife or partners living together. X wants one thing, Y wants another thing. How can any one person have it always his or her way? That's life. So, and Christmas shortens all our days is a way of indicating to us that what sounds so wonderful to us may sound not so good to somebody else. Sometimes with oysters we combine. Sometimes assist the savory shine. From the low peasant to the lord, the turkey smokes on every board. Everybody at Christmas time eats turkey. Smokes on every board means, you roast the turkey. So with the board means the table on which they put the food. So the turkey, the nice steaming turkey, the hot turkey is there on every dining table. Poor people and rich people. Then she says, sure men for gluttony are cursed, of the 7 deadly sins the worst. So there are 7 deadly sins, and according to the turkey, gluttony is the worst of them. And why is gluttony the worst of them? Because that gluttony affects her. So when we turn around and we say, oh, that's a terrible thing, it's the worst thing you did, what does that even mean? That means you did something that I am not happy with, or it doesn't suit my desires. So when we claim something is very bad, all we are saying is, I am not getting what I want. COVID is terrible. Why? Because I can't go out of the house. Because I lost a job. The same COVID would have meant nothing to me had it not interfered with my life. Thousands of people may be dying in Ethiopia. We don't think that that's terrible. Why not? It doesn't interfere with my life. So I think something is bad only because it interferes with my self-interest. So the Turkey thinks gluttony, the love of food, is the worst sin. This is what she thinks. Because man eats turkey. Now, she thinks this is the worst thing. I mean, like, how can you be a gluttonous person? That's terrible. An ant who climbed beyond her reach. An ant who climbed beyond her reach, thus answered from a neighboring beach. An ant who climbed beyond its reach, thus answered from the neighboring beach. Shouldn't it be her reach, not his reach? An ant who climbed beyond her reach, thus answered from the neighboring beach. So a little ant, a small tiny ant compared to the turkey, has climbed beyond her reach. That means he has gone on a tree and the turkey cannot reach him and eat him. Thus answered from a neighboring beach, means he's climbed up on some branch and he is responding to what the turkey is saying. Ere you remark another's sin, bid thy own conscience look within. Control thy more voracious bill, nor for a breakfast nation skill. An ant who climbed beyond her reach. Who can tell us the truth? Only those people whose lives we cannot affect. Very often, our own spouses cannot tell us the truth because we can make life hell for them. The courtiers of a king cannot tell him the truth. The sycophants around celebrities cannot tell them the truth. Who can tell us the truth about us? It's a person who is unaffected by us. So, who is this person who will be unaffected by us? We cannot interfere with his income, nor with his happiness, nor with his social standing. He can tell us the truth. So who is this person? Only a spiritually developed person, an objective person can tell us the truth because he is beyond our reach. We can't do anything to him. We cannot make him unhappy, basically. Why? Because he's not affected by the happenings of the world. So the developed people can tell us the truth. And when they tell us the truth, we get very angry with them. Look at what we did. What did we do to Christ? We crucified him. For what? What did we do to Socrates? We gave him a glass of hemlock. For what? They just told us the truth. They were unaffected by what we say and what we do. So they could tell us the truth, but we can't hear it, unfortunately. And who suffers? We suffer because we were not able to hear that truth. So an ant who climbed beyond her reach, thus answered from the neighboring beach. ere you remark another's sin, before you talk about somebody else's fault, with thy own conscience, look within. Look at yourself before you can talk of someone else. Control thy more voracious bill. Your bill is more voracious. You are eating a lot more. Nor for a breakfast, nations kill. You realize what has happened over here. Humans, eat a turkey once a year. And one man doesn't eat one turkey. So let's say 6 people eat one turkey, right? What is the turkey doing? The turkey is killing a nation full of ants for her breakfast. I mean, she'll do this now 3 times a day for the whole year long. Whose crime is greater? Is the turkey killing more, or is the human killing more? But the turkey can't see it. Whenever we see a fault in people outside, in anyone, there's a huge probability of that fault being within us. Just like the turkey and the ant. The turkey, while she is killing ants, talks about humans killing turkeys. While she's doing it. Something like, we may talk about somebody and say, oh, that person is a big gossip monger. But the moment you say this, what have we done? We're also talking now of someone else. Say, oh, that person is such a hot-tempered person. I can't tolerate him. Every time he meets me, he has a fight. But if you're not hot-tempered, how can he have a fight with you? Right? Fight requires 2 people, you know. So every time we see a fault in someone else, it will work well for us to look within and see what's the problem here. Your faults irritate me only when they interrupt my desire. Otherwise, they don't. I would be friends with you no matter how badly you behave to the rest of the world, as long as your behavior with me was good. Let us say a businessman is running an industry which is terribly polluting. The whole environment is getting polluted by that. In another country, of course. And this businessman, because he's made a lot of profit on that, invites you on his private yacht. Will you get angry with him and say, no, I won't go with you because you polluted over there? We don't, isn't it? So unless it interferes with my desires, your faults are no faults to me. So therefore, what do we learn? That if your fault is bothering me, then I should look with it. What is it? Where are my desires being interrupted? I'm angry. Hot-tempered people are most angry with other hot-tempered people. Money-minded people are angry with other money-minded people. Wherever I share your fault will bother me more. If you're a very talkative person, then it'll bother me because I want to talk. But if I want to keep quiet and listen, why will your being talkative bother me? If you're selfish and grabbing, it'll bother me because I would also like to grab, but you have not taken it. So whenever we see a fault in others, it would do us well to pause and think, are we doing this? Are we ourselves doing this? This is called objectivity. We're able to see the truth of a situation when we are involved in it, when we are in that situation. So the two natures of the mind, which we discussed today, is its introversion and lack of objectivity. The mind tends to be extrovert. It's always looking outside. And because of that, it loses its objectivity. The mind tends to indulge in objects and beings of the world and lose the joy thereof. So the intellect has to step in and maintain that right contact, maintain that discipline in the contact, maintain a discriminate contact, whereby the joy of those objects is maintained. The mind tends to, every time it gets something, to want something else. It has the if only syndrome. So the intellect has to step in and teach it to be happy today. That doesn't mean that we should not aspire for better things. But if we don't know how to be happy today, we're never going to be happy. Because there will always be something. There will always be one step more to climb. As long as we are alive, there will always be one step more to climb. So if we look at that step and we are miserable, we have doomed ourselves to lifelong misery. At every stage, there will be something. We must be able to aspire with contentment. I'm perfectly happy with what I have, and of course, I can aspire for anything. But to be unhappy with what I have and aspire means my whole life I'm going to be unhappy. And whenever we see a fault outside, it's a good reminder for us to check whether we have that fault within ourselves. So that's why he has begun with his lines. He gave the moral in the very beginning. He said, in other men, we false can spy and blame the mote that dims the eye, their eye. Each little speck and blemish find, each little individual thing about people, you always find it. To our own stronger errors blind. And this is the same message that Christ gave, isn't it? Just look at the beam in your own eyes before you look at another's. How shallow is our vision, our own vision. Let us see that. So this is what the turkey and the ant says. Many authors from across the world have given many beautiful ideas. The important thing is how much can we take these ideas, think about these ideas, reflect upon these ideas, and use them to make our own lives better. Otherwise, we hear many beautiful things and our life is the same. So that didn't really help. So that's it about the poem Turkey and the Ant. I'll hand it back to the organizers. Take it further.
Thank you, Dr. Janki Santoke. So we will go on to the questions. We will give you 2 minutes so you can frame your questions, put them in the Q&R, and we will proceed after these 2 minutes to answering your questions. Okay, so we will start. We have a first question from Surika. In order to regulate our lives, how do we know when enough is enough?
This is a decision for your own intellect. Normally, you use, firstly, there is no level when enough is enough. You can't say that if you have got an income of $5,000, that's enough, or $10,000, that's enough, or $1 billion, that's enough. There's no such rule. There is no limit in terms of how much you can progress, how much you can earn, how much you can do, what way you want to touch the skies. There's no limit on that whatsoever. But each one will have to use his own discrimination to determine what they would like to do. And whatever you decide is right for you is right for you. No one else is to interfere with that judgment. When we study Vedanta, we learn how different types of goals give different types of results. So the more selfish, self-centered the goal, the more agitated the human being. The more unselfish, selfless the goal, the more peaceful the person. So there is no limit on what you can aspire for. But if we are able to keep it unselfish, then we will not only succeed in the venture, but we will also be happy with it, happy in our hearts with it.
So we move to the next question, a question from Deep Raj. How can we keep the mind happy in the present when our desires will inevitably get interrupted?
By understanding that. By understanding that's a way of life. There is no way that we are going to have it our way all the time. Nobody has it. A supreme dictator cannot have it his way all the time. It is the nature of events that some days things will go your way and some days things will not go your way. Some day it will be sunny, some day it will be rainy. The nature of this world is change. So once we understand this, you just understand that's the way it is. You're okay with it. And I say, why are you okay with it? Because you understood that's how it is. Like for instance, if it is monsoon season, it will rain. If you understand this, you won't be grumbling about it all the time. When it's snowing, well, that's the season. It's winter, so it will snow. Once you've understood this, you can take the right action. Okay, you can wear your warm clothes, you can put on some heaters, you can do whatever it is you need to do. But that it is winter and that it is snowing, or that it is monsoon and it is raining, well, that's just what it is. And every year it's going to be like that. Once you understand this, it's not a botheration. You just have to decide what you want to do about it. You have options, right? If you don't like the rains, you can go to Sahara and live there. There won't be any rains there. But then there may be tigers coming at you or lions coming at you. I don't know. So every place is a package deal. You can choose which package you want.
Okay, we seem to have no more questions. Si vous avez encore des questions, vous pouvez poser, sinon on va conclure. So if you have another question, please go ahead. Otherwise, we will conclude. Okay, thank you, Dr. Janki Santoke. And Mahesh will give us the flow of the coming events that will be happening with Dr. Janki Santoke. So we will have events in France, before that, we have a last session, which is the Art of Success, taking place Sunday, 12th of February. And please note that it is 2:30 p.m., 1:30 p.m. in India, and 8 o'clock to 9:15 in France. And please, if you have persons that would like to join, please send them the link. And then we have a conference also and a retreat in France, which is 1st of April, 5th of April, about the technique of living. And then we have a talk in Paris on the 5th of April in the evening. And if you have anyone living in France and you would like to send them the information that Dr. Janki Santoke will be in Paris so they can listen live to a conference. And you have weekly online classes that you can join. And we thank you all for joining us. Thank you very much, Dr. Janki Santoke. Thank you to all the team. Thank you, Madeleine, for translation. Thank you, Mahesh. And we will see you next time for the last conference on webinar, which is the Art of Success. Thank you so much.